Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be talking about the dairy foods group. So let's get started. I'm going to walk around here and show you a few of the things in the dairy foods group. We're going to talk about what foods are in the dairy foods group, how much you need in a day, some tips in choosing dairy foods, and the nutrients provided by dairy foods. So let's start with what's in the dairy foods group. Well, milk is in the dairy foods group, along with yogurt, cheese, and fortified soy milk. How much dairy food do you need in a day? You need the equivalent of 2 to 3 cups a day, depending on how many calories you need. Lower calories need less. People that need more calories need more. So what is equivalent to 1 cup? Well, some things are really easy. So for example, if you drink a cup of milk, you've had a cup of dairy foods. If you drink a cup of fortified soy, you've had a cup of dairy foods. If you have a cup of yogurt, you've had a cup of dairy foods. But what about cheese? It's not that easy to measure in cups. Well, 1 ounce of cheese is equivalent to 1 cup of dairy. So what does an ounce look like? Well, one of the easiest visuals is a string cheese or a mozzarella stick. These are roughly about 1 ounce of cheese. If you take your cheese and you slice it up, like a little square like this is about 1/2 ounce. So it would take 2 of these to be equivalent to 1 ounce and equivalent to 1 cup of dairy. If you have shredded cheese, like I've got some shredded Parmesan here, about 1/4 cup equals 1 ounce, and that's equivalent to 1 cup of dairy. Now let me give you some tips in selecting dairy foods. First, let's talk about soy milk. So in the dairy foods group, it's only fortified soy milk, and you want to make sure it's fortified because naturally the soy doesn't contain some of the nutrients we find in the dairy foods that we'll talk about in a bit. You can just flip it over and look on the label of the package, and you can see on the label that this is fortified with calcium and vitamin D, and even on the front it will say that it's a good source of different vitamins and minerals. So fortified soy milk. Other beverages like an almond beverage or coconut beverage or rice beverage are not part of the dairy foods group. That is because they don't have the protein content that we need in the dairy foods group. So for example, 1 cup of this almond beverage only provides 1 gram of protein, where if I have a cup of the soy or a cup of the dairy milk, that provides about 7 to 8 grams of protein. Now, other tips in choosing dairy. When you are choosing your yogurt and your milk, you want to choose the variety that has the least added sugar and fat. So for example, this is a 2% or 1% milk are going to be your low-fat milks. For your yogurts, this is a plain yogurt, and if I turn it around and look at the label, I can see that there are no added sugars on this plain yogurt. However, if I look at this vanilla yogurt here and I turn it around and look at the label, you can see that there are about 11 grams of added sugar. That's equivalent to about 2 or 3 teaspoons of added sugar. Now, one other tip in choosing dairy are there are some things that you might think are dairy foods, but actually aren't. So for example, sour cream, even though it's made from a dairy product, it's more like a solid fat. It doesn't have the other nutrients that we find in protein foods. So sour cream is a solid fat. It's not a dairy food. And another one is cream cheese. Again, even though it's made with milk, it's not a dairy food. It's a solid fat because it has more fat and not a lot of the nutrients. And that brings us to what nutrients do we actually find in our dairy foods group? Well, the main one is protein. We get plenty of protein. 1 cup equivalent gives you about 7 to 8 grams of protein. We also have calcium. 1 cup equivalent will give you about 1/3 of the day's calcium needs. We also have vitamin D, vitamin B12, potassium, and phosphorus. So in review, the dairy foods group includes milk, yogurt, cheese, and fortified soy. You need roughly 2 to 3 cups a day. A cup of milk, yogurt, or soy, or 1 ounce of cheese is equivalent to 1 cup of milk. And the nutrients you get are protein, calcium, vitamin D, B12, potassium, and phosphorus.